Welcome back to the Automotive Logistics and Supply Chain Red Sofa here in Mexico City, joined with Mónica García, who's the leading global purchasing and supply chain for General Motors here in Mexico. A big responsibility across the supply chain. And Mónica, you're here talking to us largely about resiliency. You know, how can we make a more resilient supply chain for GM in Mexico and, of course, the markets that it serves. What are the key priorities for you right now in achieving this resiliency?
Well, one of our top priorities is achieving full visibility and control across the supply chain. The more control we have, the more resilient and adaptable the system will be. And a key enabler for this is suppliers to lead supply chain mapping, full from end to end and down to tier N, including all the raw materials, such as critical minerals, rare earths, this kind of mining, these kind of materials that are becoming more critical in the supply chain these days. And this is essential to identify vulnerabilities in the supply chain, to reduce risk. And I think that once the supply chain is clearly understood, we can model risk and anticipate the risk and act proactively. And Mexico offers a strong foundation for this strategy. Just to give you some numbers, we have around 650 Tier 1 suppliers in Mexico, and Mexico is the second largest source globally. So this is creating a lot of opportunities to strengthen the networks in Mexico. So we encourage our suppliers to continue expanding and working to localize regionally.
So I mean, both on the supply chain mapping, it's a big job, as you say, 650 tier ones, that cascades, very critical to get deeper into the tier supply chain. But to your point there, encouraging more localization in Mexico, that of course can be a resiliency factor. We do know that of course there's some changes in the landscape with trade, no secret there. Is it changing in any way the focus for localization in nearshoring? Do you have to think about it in a somewhat different way in Mexico now?
Well, nearshoring and localization have significantly reshaped the supplier landscape, and Mexico has emerged a strategic anchor in this strategy. And well, the supply chain and the ecosystem has evolving rapidly and becoming more competitive, more connected, and more aligned with our top priorities around quality, technology, and sustainability. And GM has adapted our sourcing strategy to include this new, or to adapt this new reality. It's not longer just about cost efficiency, it's about strengthen the supply chain, increase agility and adaptability. And we are seeing, we as GM, we are seeing North America holistically, making footprint decisions that enable flexibility, adaptability, and long-term competitiveness. So that is really important. What we are seeing now is a shift from a tactical relocation to a strategic integration.
Very, very nicely put, very important, I think, especially when we look at how the supply chain can be made competitive in the region and deal with perhaps some of those critical issues, as we talked about earlier, critical supply of parts. What role do you see logistics playing in this? Logistics planning, logistics partnerships, how can that help you to meet some of these strategic goals, to be more resilient and adapt to the changes?
We have strengthened our partnership with our carriers and customer brokers to ensure faster response times, better routes, and we are including strategic planning or planning into our tactical operations, and this includes strategies such as alternate routes, especially in these situations that we are facing in Mexico when we have critical routes and critical areas. And we are also including strategic buffer inventory alternatives and digital tools that can give us real-time visibility across the networks. In the end, it's about creating and building a logistic ecosystem that can absorb disruptions, act quickly, and can support our continuity of our operations.
Absolutely critical. Do you see that as well an important way to mitigate some of the disruptions that we've seen also from trade, customs, that we've talked about a lot in this event? Does this help mitigate some of these issues as well?
Sure, that is really important, yeah.
And just also on the supply chain mapping, which you highlight is so critical, is that also being done digitally? Are you looking at tools that can help you do that? Because otherwise, I can imagine you wouldn't want to just do it across spreadsheets. So is this part of a system change as well?
Yeah, of course, that is one of our main priority. And as our journey to strengthen and have a stronger and more reliable supply chain, GN is investing in progressing the mapping capabilities. So that is really important. And we launched a platform in 2022 that provide us and that identify the vulnerabilities we have in the supply chain, and this help us to minimize the risk, increasing the visibility and the agility. And this tool supports our need to monitor the supply chain and proactively predict some risk in the supply chain. Of course, this is the suppliers plays a key role on this, as we relied on them because they need to map the whole supply chain tier end. So we launch a comprehensive training and tools as the supplier begin to map the entire value chain. So that for us that is important. And this two-way communication allows to act and support suppliers when an issue arises. And of course, this is important because that requires transparency from our suppliers. This is a critical component that we require for the suppliers, and we think that we have made this possible through the strong relationship we have with the suppliers.
And that's an important point, especially in this complex landscape. Maybe my last question is: Are you working to help your suppliers in ways perhaps that you hadn't previously had to? Whether it's in being compliant in certain areas, for example, to help mitigate in the current landscape. Is it strengthening the partnership in new ways?
Yes, of course. As I mentioned, we deploy a comprehensive training to support the suppliers, as this is not an easy task. That is completely different. For us, it's also a good learning when we see that certain minerals are included in part of our value chain. So that was new for us, so even for them. Of course, we are supporting this. We are launching this platform. We are helping with training tools, and one of the priorities I want to highlight here is that digitalization, value chain digitalization is really important. And with that I mean including technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other predictive analytic tools that can give us more visibility and to predict what could be the issue during the supply chain. So that is basically what we are working with suppliers. Of course, we need to have this strong relationship. Again, that requires transparency, because that they are going to give us the whole information, but this is for the benefit of both. And this is to prevent risk and to minimize the vulnerabilities that we have in the supply chain. And again, we are together, and we need to work together.
Absolutely. Well, as you say, it is to help both sides, but it does require trust, because that is a level of information that perhaps is new to be sharing. Monica, thank you so much for sharing these insights with us, joining us here on the Red Sofa and at the conference. Looking forward to sharing more with our audience again, and great to have you here. Gracias.
Thank you very much.